Hello, 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 and good evening, ladies in waiting. Welcome to the first evening of the Purpose in My Pen series. This is the series where we will be discussing and highlighting kingdom authors who write to and for women, specifically single women. So it's my pleasure. This series, I know I said that about the last series, but this series is really, really dear to my heart. So I am so excited about this series, meeting and chatting with each author. I am Giselle Alain Clement. I am the founder and community manager of the Ladies in Waiting group. So if you're new to us and it's the first time you're hearing about Ladies in Waiting, who are we? Well, the Ladies in Waiting group is an arm of the overall organization Pearls of Great Price Empowerment Services. And this arm caters to the needs of single Christian women. We created an environment, a safe space of accountability, transparency, and empowerment where they can come and really be developed. We develop the total woman. And so this is all part and parcel of our development as a group. This segment is also part of our Finish Strong series. So every time you see Pearls of Great Price Empowerment Services and whichever arm, be it the Pearls of Wisdom podcast or the Ladies in Waiting group, you will hear me reminding you that we are finishing strong. And so I am again so happy to be in your space this evening. Do me a favor, call another single lady. Call your friends, WhatsApp them, send them a voice message. Tell them Ladies in Waiting is on and they are on with another exciting series. You see, we have no time to slow down in the Ladies in Waiting group. We just came out of a month-long series and here we are starting another one. That's what we're about, our Father's business. That's what we are about, pursuing purpose. And so this series, Purpose in My Pen, is going to show us that God has anointed persons to write with the anointing of the writer to reach and teach single women. So share the live, start a watch party, and let's get as many single ladies in the virtual room, so to speak. So again, welcome, welcome, welcome. It is my pleasure. It is my pleasure. I've been watching her for a while on social media platforms, and she has really made an impact in the lives of women, and she also speaks to single women. And so this evening it gives me great pleasure to introduce our first author, Miss Leslie Ann Jerome. Let's give her a warm Ladies in Waiting welcome. Welcome, Leslie Ann.
Hi, good night, and thank you for having me. Thank you so much.
It is my pleasure. It is my pleasure. You see, once someone comes under my radar, I say,
Yes,
I
yes,
need to get them on. I need to get them on to share their voice with us
yes,
in the
yes,
name of Jesus. Because you see, when we're working in the same vineyard,
that's
God
right.
gives us the opportunity to collaborate. And
Correct.
when your voice joins with my voice, the
Yes,
impact is even greater. You know, the ripple effect?
yes,
That
yes,
is what
yes.
is happening here this evening. So it is my
Correct.
pleasure, Leslie
Thank you
Ann.
so much for having me.
Yes. Leslie Ann, tell us, who is Leslie Ann Jerome?
All right. So I am Leslie Ann Jerome, and I am a transformational coach. I am a business coach. I am an educator. I have been teaching for over 15 years. I'm also a special educator, a reading coach. I am an entrepreneur. I own 5 businesses at this time. All right.
Okay,
I
okay.
was,
Leslie
yes,
Ann, just Miss
yes,
five.
yes, yes, yes. Yes,
Okay.
yes, and one of them is a known photography company, Mark Anthony Photography, where
Yes.
I am the lead director and lead editor. We have been in
Okay.
business for over 10 years. Yes, and
Awesome.
yes, besides that, I have been on a mission to motivate and empower women internationally and in my country and my community. I am
Yes.
drawn to women who are, broken. They need help, and that's my area. So that's a little bit
Excellent.
about myself, and I'm an author as well. Yes,
Wow. I'm still stuck on the five businesses
yes,
part, but we'll get into that, I am sure, a
yes,
bit later. And this evening we are going to focus on one aspect, you being an
yes,
author.
yes,
So, Leslie Ann, tell us what got you started writing? What
yes.
drew you to writing?
That's a really great question. My mother died when I was 10 years old, and
Okay.
my mom died from HIV/AIDS. And I remember, when I had to move out and go by some family members, God started to work in me, and I started writing my first book in a notepad, the biography of Leslie Ann and my mother. That was the first time it started. And I've been
Awesome.
through so many hardships, but I remember in 2017, God said, "This is the time for you to write." But sometimes you're disobedient. You're not listening to what God is saying. You want to do your own thing.
Yes.
God said, "Start the little page that I have up for women." I said, "God, not right now." God said, "Start writing." I took a long time. And then in 2019, I got into a really bad accident when I lost my life. And in my brokenness, God said, "Start again." Because I started writing little bits. But I think it was when in 2019 I got into that bad accident, and then my son, he had an asthmatic attack. I was in Mount Hope sitting down watching him trying to breathe. And God said, "Start a write." So I took up my cell phone and I pulled up Google Docs and I started writing. And
Wow.
I didn't turn back. I continued just going forward with whatever God said that I needed to do. Yes.
Awesome. Leslie, and I'm hearing so many things just by
Yes.
by that account. I want to dissect it a bit more.
Yes. Yes.
First I heard trauma and pain was the
Yes.
genesis. Could I
Yes.
could I go a bit
Yes.
deeper
Yes.
out of the experience, your mom dying at such a young age, losing your mom, that was traumatic, and the
Yes.
genesis of your writing was a painful one.
Yes.
So, would you say that writing, did you comprehend at the time that writing was part of your healing journey?
Yes. No, I was so small. I just felt like I wanted to tell somebody how I was feeling, but I didn't understand what I was doing yet. Until as
Yes.
I moved on in life and the trauma started to hit real, I started
Yes.
writing. And then I realized that this writing was something that I needed to do to make me feel better. I
Yes.
didn't know that I was supposed to share it to anybody. It was just for me.
Yes. What do
Yes.
you mean by make me feel better?
Okay, so it was a form of communication to God. And I found that when I wrote things down, I felt like I was releasing things because I was so ashamed or so hurt about what happened in the past with my mom and family that I didn't want to tell anybody. But when I wrote, this book was God, was someone I could talk to. So every time I wrote something down, I was releasing some part of me that I needed to let go. Because sometimes the devil comes in our mind and tell us who we're supposed to be and who we are, and we don't find our identity. But when we write things down, we see things clearer, and that
Yes.
was my way of finding myself at that time.
Was it also a part to play in the creation of an identity for
Yes,
yourself? Because you did
yes,
say that your mom died from
yes,
HIV
yes,
AIDS, yes?
yes,
And we
yes,
know that the stigma attached to that,
yes.
it couldn't have been easy for a young
That's right.
child. And
Yes,
so was writing a way of creating and forging your own identity, would you
yes,
say?
yes. I mean, right when I wrote things down, I was writing to find myself, because
Right.
when she died and started to grow up as a teenager and a young adult, I had no identity, none. But every time I wrote things down, I was a little bit clearer.
Who Leslie Ann was.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
because it's not
Awesome.
easy to have parents, a mom dying with that, and then you have the
Mm-hmm.
whole world against you. You're trying to
Yes.
figure out, would you be like her? How can
Yes.
you forge your own identity? So it was really hard, and the devil really played a big part in my life. He really
Mm-hmm.
tried to stump me down from that time to at least in
Mm-hmm.
my 20s.
Wow.
Yes. So I found my identity in when I was 20 something, yeah,
20
25, 20,
something.
yeah.
Take us to the point of the accident. That's the second word that jumped
Yes.
out at me. You got
Yes.
into an accident. So that's a
Yes.
second traumatic
Yes.
experience that pushed you deeper into
Yes.
writing. Tell us
Yes. A
how
little bit.
that happened. Yes.
Okay. Well, in our lives, sometimes we normally dealing with different things. I had been dealing with things in my life personally. I was so drawn and exhausted from work and being a mom and being a wife and just doing business that it started to take a toll of myself. So I was there
Yes.
crying out to God for a long time, praying to God, God, how can I become better? I was getting sick as well. I was not feeling well. I was always in the hospital. So always something was going on.
Yes.
And my family were taking a lot of spiritual attack. You may know what I'm talking about. It was
Yes.
from my life to my husband's life to my children always being in the hospital because both of my children are asthmatic.
Okay.
And it was a really trying time for us. And I remember writing my prayers down and sticking it up on the wall, telling God that I wanted a better life. I did not understand that God was using the accident to birth a new me. So I
Yes.
remember, being in the car with my husband and we had a little falling out and staying quiet. And I was praying to God silently and said, God, do something, make a move, God. God operates in his own way.
Own ways.
And my
Yes.
husband fell asleep on the wheel. And you know something? That was the worst because I said, God, I'm praying and
For
I'm
you to do
asking
something.
you.
Yes.
And now I lost my vehicle. We have lost this. Money is drawing down because now we have insurance and all these things. I don't even know how I'm going to work. I said, God, you took me worse. And I remember getting angry with God. I don't know, woman, if it is you have ever experienced a time when you're angry with God.
Yes.
And I was so angry that I started to quarrel in the house with God. People were saying I'm mad. I got out of the hospital and I didn't have any broken bones, but I was tormented spiritually. I was
Yes.
broken emotionally, and I cried out to God. I said, God, how am I going to do this? You got to make a move.
Yes.
And let me tell you, after that, God kept doing things. Persons started blessing us with money. God brought my husband and I even closer. And
Okay.
then we started doing new things. And God said, I use the accident to push you into writing and to
Yes.
focus on your calling.
Wow.
And that was a big turning out. And God said, Leslie Ann, never hold on to material things because as soon as it comes, it can go. And God
Awesome.
said, never worry about anything. I will provide. And in 2020, we started living a better life.
Right.
Yes,
Awesome. So
yes,
the accident redirected you.
yes,
What should have been the end,
yes.
it turned things around
Correct.
for you. If
Yes,
you are just joining us, this is the program Ladies in Waiting, and we have just started our Purpose in My Pen series where we will be interviewing and having a discussion with authors who have written books about their journey
yes,
and they have
yes,
shared it with the world, written to and for women. And so, if you are here this evening under the sound of our voice, do me another favor. Call another friend and tell them Ladies in Waiting is on. I am here with Leslie and Jerome, and we are just getting started discussing her book.
yes,
And I
yes,
want to jump there now. So that
yes,
was the genesis, and you took us
yes,
through that
yes,
period. And so God redirected you through brokenness,
yes,
and you started again, and things started to flourish and blossom.
yes,
And the book that we are focusing on tonight is Dear King's Woman, Own Your Crown. And yes, I see it there. I see it there. Leslie Ann, what brought you to the point of writing this book? Why did you write
Yes.
this book, this
All right.
particular book?
Yes. So, just like my story and me finding my identity and the trauma that I have faced, because I have been really working with women for over 10 years, the same cries have been coming to me, and it's the same thing I've been through. This book
Yes.
was written to bring healing, some form of restoration. You see, this book came from God. It's God's book. All right. And this book is created. You hear me? Yeah, good.
Yes.
Yes, this book came from obedience. And God said, Leslie, there are too many of my daughters. They have been going through too many things. So
Wow.
this book really, I really wrote this book because I wanted them to heal from the trauma that they have been experiencing, even in relationships. Sometimes you find yourself just being in with this person and that person, and you don't realize that you are the person that you need to work on something, because this is why you are attracting this type of person. And God said, sometimes you have to allow them to let go of whatever they are focusing on. Come to me so that I can
Yes.
redirect their path to the person
Yes.
that I have for them.
Yes.
And this is why I wrote the book, because I wanted women to find themselves before they can go
Awesome.
anywhere finding anybody else. I wanted them to find themselves. So that is just the purpose of it. Heal and to come together and find yourself before you can do anything.
And I find it so significant that that was
Yes,
the thinking and the concept.
yes,
Healing. You went
healing.
through a physical
Yes,
accident, but
yes,
you also had a journey of
yes,
internal healing. And they kind of coincided and
yes,
merged. So you are now in a place to
yes,
guide women through their
yes.
healing journey.
Correct.
And another thing you said, sometimes when we go from relationship to relationship, we point the finger at the other
Yes,
person. Something is wrong with the other person, not realizing maybe it's me. I am the common denominator here.
yes,
So I need
yes,
to pause
yes,
and
yes,
turn the torchlight inward. I love it. I love
yes,
it. Let's talk a bit more about the name of the book.
yes,
Dear King's Woman,
yes.
Own Your Crown. Why did you choose this title? Were there any other contenders for the name of the
Yes,
book? Could you take us through that?
yes, yes. So when I started writing this book, I wrote this book without a name for a long time.
Really?
Yes, I
Okay.
started writing without a name, and I said, God, you will tell me what you want me to put in front of that book.
Okay. Okay.
And I heard God said, He is the King, and I am His daughter. I am His, and that's why I came up there, King's Woman, because I wanted women to know that you belong to a king.
Yes.
So represent with authority.
Wow.
So, their kingswoman is a standard that we are setting for ourselves. That you have to understand that you are representing a king. Your God is not a small God, He's a big God, He's the God of the universe.
Yes.
And you are supposed to be operating with authority, with faith, with strength, with power, knowing that you can do anything. And that is
Wow.
where that name came from. And own your crown really started from, being broken. And
Yes.
when you are broken, the devil hits you. He lets you know that you are nothing. But even in brokenness, you can own your crown. When you own your crown, you can defeat the devil, you can defeat the lies. So owning your crown is the truth. It
Yes.
says truth. You have to know your truth so that you can be delivered from whatever you're experiencing. So that is the meaning of that name.
Yes.
So I said, God, you tell me and I will write. I am not in charge anymore.
Awesome.
Yes.
The concept of the crown, there's a saying that we are seeing on social media
Yes.
a lot, that as women, we should fix another woman's crown without
Yes.
letting the world know that it was
Yes.
broken. Now, I know you
Mm,
explained the fixing of the crown and the
yes.
owning of the crown is a personal thing, but did
Yes.
that have a part to play as
Yes.
I'm a sister, you're a sister, and
Yes.
we
Yes.
meet, we're God's daughters,
Yes.
we're God's women. We
Yes.
need to fix each
Yes.
other's crown. Is that a part of the
Yes.
understanding?
Of yes, of course. Because you know what I've found is that a lot of women, we don't inspire, we don't motivate, we don't check on our sister. We
Yes,
are focusing on our own self when our sister is there depressed
yes,
silently. So
yes,
owning your core means that you need to silently message someone, see how they are doing, talk with them. You know, everything is not about money.
yes,
Just talk with someone. But you know, sometimes you're so focused on getting there, getting to the top, but we
yes,
forget everybody around us. And
yes.
owning your crown means that you have to be a light so that persons can draw to you. If you are not a light, then you what is your purpose?
Yes.
So yeah, on your crown means that you are a light. God said that you need to be a light so that more persons, more women will flock to you. That is the kind of person that you want to be.
Wow.
A
Wow.
light bringer.
Yes.
Yes.
And even as you describe that so beautifully, I'm also getting the understanding that when we can own our crowns
Yes.
as women, and we be light, so we draw people and we draw
Yes.
other women to
Yes.
ourselves, we then are better able to
Yes.
celebrate each other.
That's right.
So
That's
that's
right.
another layer,
Oh
another
boy.
dimension. As women, we must
Yes.
be able to celebrate each other. Leslie and I
I'm
should be able
telling
to
you.
celebrate your
Yes.
victories and
Yes.
say, woohoo, go girl. Now it's
Yes.
your time, mine's
Yes.
coming, but right now I'm celebrating you. Do you find, as you deal with women, that's missing, that's
Yes.
lacking, that we need to work on that a bit more?
Yes. Yes. I found that you see, jealousy and envy is so strong in a woman's life that they forget to congratulate someone. Even in my
Yes,
journey, I don't have much. I will tell you personally, I don't have much persons congratulating me, and that's fine. But
yes,
you see
yes,
me, I every time I talk with someone, I'm motivating them, empowering them, and I'm trying to
yes.
teach the sisters around me that you need to do the same thing. And I
Okay.
found that is lacking. And you know something God said? When you start to help and congratulate another person, your blessings come quicker to you.
Wow. Say that
And
again,
you,
Leslie Ann. Say that again.
when you help, you congratulate someone, especially a woman, your
Yes.
blessings come. You that bondage that you have around you, it is released. And sometimes you
Yes.
are blocking your own blessing because you are not helping,
Wow.
congratulating, praising another sister. And sometimes
Wow.
God will keep you in that season until you learn how to congratulate other persons. And a lot of people get stuck in the same season for a long time. They're
Leslie,
restricted.
I can't move from this point. Please forgive me. Because
Yes.
this song, I can't remember the gospel singer. There's beauty in my brokenness.
Yes, yes,
And for you to see beauty in brokenness, I'm going back to your
yes,
accident. Now, you weren't mangled, but picture a car being totally wrecked. It's
yes,
mangled, as we say in Trinidad, it's a write off.
yes,
That's it.
yes, right. Oh,
But for some mechanic to come and say, I know things looking bad right now, but I could restore this
yes,
car. Put that to women and
yes,
our relationships. If
yes,
I am to see the beauty in you, Leslie,
yes,
as you go through and walk through your brokenness, that's where the restoration will take place. And
that's
that's where
right.
God will use me, as you said, as a light to bring
Yes,
restoration to
yes,
you.
yes. And when you say that, you know what I'm hearing in my spirit? God cannot fix a new car. He can't fix a proper car. He has to fix a broken car. That's where he's
Wow.
he's doing his work. And
Wow.
sometimes we're so proud that we don't want anything to fix. But when we let go, we surrender, we become broken in our singleness, in our divorce, and anything that we are going through, that is when God is
Yes.
able to transform you.
Wow.
And sometimes God is just saying, come. But
Wow.
because you know you want to be always new, I am always broken and
Oh, wow.
transparent and naked before
Yes.
God, because that is where He
Yes.
can do His work in me.
Wow. If you are just joining us, welcome, welcome, welcome. This is the Ladies in Waiting Purpose in My Pen series. This month of November, every Tuesday evening at 7 p.m., we will be having a chat with a different author. Tonight is our kickoff night, and I am here with Leslie Ann Jerome. Leslie Ann, lift that book again.
Yes,
Let them
yes.
see it. She is the author of Dear King's Woman, Own Your Crown. So do me another favor. I'm asking a lot of favors tonight. Text another single sister. Tell them, come, come. You need to hear this. Leslie Ann, is the journey of being an author an easy one? Did you face challenges in
Yes.
writing this book? If yes, what sort of challenges did you face?
Yes, that's a very good question because when I was writing this book, God was also using me and healing me as well.
Okay.
I spent a lot of time in 2020 in the hospital battling from different complications. I mean, when you're writing and you're writing something so powerful,
Yes.
you will be hit for six. And I was going through so many things. And I did surgery this year. I spent a lot of times writing this book in hospital beds. And yeah,
Okay.
and there were times when I didn't know what to do, but God said, keep writing.
Keep writing.
Keep
Wow.
writing. This is not yours. This is mine.
Mm.
Even when I finished writing it, I told God, I said, what's next? God said,
Wow.
prepare. I am going to use it and I'm going to take it to women all over the world because my daughters are broken. I said that. Even I asked my husband, what's next? He said, God will tell you what's next. And I found myself going through so many trials, but I had to stay on task because you see, when you're operating under an assignment from God,
Yes.
you will be attacked. Anything that you're doing, once it is your purpose,
Yes.
the attack will come because remember, the devil don't want you to finish.
Yes.
So I was attacked emotionally, but I said to myself, I have to do this because I know that I was put on earth to do this.
Awesome.
So I have to finish,
You had to
regardless of
finish.
how I feel. It was not about me. It was
Yes.
about being obedient and doing what I have to do. Yes.
Awesome. Wow. So let's get into the meat of the
Yes.
matter tonight. Let's get into this book. What are some subject areas, topics, issues that this
Yes.
book address? What could you
Yes.
give us an idea?
Yes. This book addresses brokenness.
Okay.
It addresses being in the unknown, how to grow in an unknown season. It addresses crazy faith, walking when you don't know what's going to happen next, how to move on when you can't pay your bills. It addresses singleness and how to wait for the right person, not just sleeping around with men and all of the different things. It addresses a woman who is lost. She's looking in the mirror and she don't know who she is.
Yes.
Maybe she's wearing on makeup and wigs, but when she takes it off, she looks at herself and she doesn't know who she is. This book addresses that. This book is a
Yes.
workbook. It's not a
Yes.
book to just read. There are questions and even lines in the book where you can be able to write.
Okay.
And from there, you can be able to see what's really happening to you. It's a book of realization. So far, I have so many messages coming in, women crying. They call me crying because they didn't realize that they were broken.
Right.
The first exercise, when it said, tell me who you are, what is my identity, they didn't know. And so they realized that, whoa, as we Trini say, I am in a hot mess. So this book is about realization. When you unrealize that you are not at the right place that God wants you to be, then you can start to do the work. So this book is an exercise book, and every page I share a different topic, whether it is singleness, whether it is faith, whether it is brokenness, letting go, going back to the past, forgiveness. It really helps you to take a good look of your life, especially self-love, self-worth, loving yourself. And these things may sound so simple, but it's a lot.
No, 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 no,
Yes.
no. I want to jump on one of them that just slapped me in my face. How to grow in an unknown
Yes.
season.
Yes.
Dissect that a bit more
Yes.
for us,
Yes. Yes.
Leslie Ann. Oh my goodness.
Yes. Yes.
Someone is listening tonight and they are
Yes.
walking through an unknown season.
Done.
And you're saying that you're telling us we can still grow in an unknown season. Tell
Yes.
us a bit more about that.
Yes. The unknown season is a season when God has called you to do something. He has planted a seed in you and He says, okay, Victoria, Esther, I want you to go forward. But
Yes.
sometimes, when God calls us forward, we don't know, we don't have any money to go forward. We are broken. We're watching our situation, always our situation, the bills packing up. We're looking at how can I start this job? How can I move out and go to a new place? Because even in myself, I remember when God said I had to move out, I had to take my family and just leave where I was. And it was scary just going to a new place, not knowing how I would pay my bills. But when you are walking in an unknown season, it is called crazy feet.
Yes.
You are not seeing what God has for you, but it's not your job to know. All you have to do is be obedient and walk forward. And you
Yes.
would see as soon as you make one step, things will start happening that you and all be like, oh my gosh. Even if you don't have any money, don't know how you're paying your bills, don't worry, just go forward. An unknown season is where God is saying, leave that guy alone. He's not right for you. He's saying, leave him. He know he's not treating you well, but you're still there. An unknown season is trusting God. Sometimes you have to work on yourself. Sometimes you have to prepare yourself for wifehood
Yes.
before you could be with the person. God said He didn't even show you the person, but He says you just prepare for an unknown season. Prepare
Yes.
yourself, prepare your garment, prepare your
Yes.
spirit, prepare your
Yes.
body.
Yes.
Because I am taking you to an unknown season, and when you enter into that season, everything will align itself.
Yes.
But the problem, are you hearing me?
I am still
Yes.
hearing you. Yes.
The problem, okay, good. The problem is that sometimes we don't know how to trust God in an unknown season. We always have a plan B.
Yes.
We want to take the plan B in the unknown season, but God's saying no. And sometimes God will keep you learning that same lesson over and over and over until you understand that when you are in the unknown season is about letting go, coming forward, what you have in your hand, and God will multiply,
Yes.
restore, give you
Wow.
everything that the locust has eaten.
Yes.
And that is what walking in the unknown season is like.
Awesome.
Yes.
If you are just joining us, you're seeing what's going on Giselle's profile. Well, this is the Ladies in Waiting Purpose in My Pen series. This is our first night, the kickoff night, and I'm here chatting with author Leslie Ann Jerome, author of Dear King's Woman, Own Your Crown. And she has just been dropping gems. I hope you're taking notes. I hope you're listening. Leslie Ann, do you have a favorite chapter or
Yes.
chapters? You do?
Yes.
I know
Yes.
authors,
And
they
I
probably
didn't even
like,
realize time passed so quickly. Wow. I looked at the time. Oh my gosh.
that happens when we're having a good conversation.
Yes. 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 I have two short chapters because I could talk
Awesome.
forever. But one of the chapters I wanted to highlight is singleness.
Yes. Well, folks,
Yes.
we are in for a treat now. We're going to have a
Yes.
reading by Leslie Ann
Yes.
of her favorite chapters in the book, after which we'll have a period of question and answer. So if you do have a question for Leslie Ann, start popping them in the comments so that we can get them to her. But right now, let's hear Leslie Ann as she reads.
All right. Psalm 27:14. Wait for the Lord. Be strong and let your heart take courage. Yes, wait for the Lord. Dear King's woman, being single doesn't make you weak. It means that you are strong enough to be on your own until God aligns you with the right person. Singleness is compared to a life of exile for some women. Hookups, one night stands, and friends with benefits are the new norm. It seems like a woman would be heavily criticized if she says that she's saving herself until she gets married. I have spoken to a lot of single women, and only a few of them were happy to be single. Most of them were stressed out and tired of waiting on the right man. Some of them would say, I'm so tired of waiting, girl. When would God send me the right guy? I just want to get married and have a baby because I'm not getting any younger. Sometimes we try to put a time limit on God and then get angry when things don't happen in our timing. If only we could see all of the things God has protected us from and all how He's preparing us. It is better to remain single than to get into the wrong relationship. I waited 2 years before I found a one. And yes, singleness was tough for me. And yes, I made mistakes along the way with the wrong guys. But God wanted me to remain happy in Him before He placed me with His Son. I remembered praying and writing letters to the man that was created for me. And yes, it was a little crazy, but I believed that God was preparing me for His Son, my King. I had to decide to protect my peace and my flesh from the wrong men. It does not make sense to give your mind, body, heart, and spirit to another who was not made for you in the first place. Do you know how long it takes to become healed from a messy relationship? Guard yourself, woman of God, against the enemy and his tricks. Enjoy and use this time to build a relationship with yourself. Build your standards, seek God, and know what He says about you. You are royal and you deserve someone who will love you the way God loves you. Do not be of this world, but wait until God is ready. And I have one short part again. This one is called The Wait, chapter 34, day 34. Dear King's Woman, have you been praying about a situation in your life and found yourself waiting on a breakthrough? Sometimes during the wait, we can develop doubt and fear because of the feeling that everyone is achieving all their answers while you are still in the same situation. This has happened to me many times, but God always came through for me. In the past, my faith was weak. I would get irritated when everyone in my circle got their prayers answered. A perfect example was during my singleness. I felt like God had forgotten me. But what I didn't know was that He was preparing me for marriage. He was teaching me how to have faith in Him, and I had failed that lesson. After a failed relationship, God reminded me of His promise and I obeyed. I made a promise to wait on God until the right man came into my life. God kept His promise, and I was married a year later. Would you imagine that? So be of good courage and know that God is working everything out for you. You would not understand why He has you in this waiting season, but understand that God has not forgotten you. Our waiting season teaches us so many lessons. God uses those moments to teach us about patience, hope, humility, faith, and also about ourselves. He's always working when we think He's not up to anything. While we wait on Him, He purges, cleanses, and really takes care of us to handle whatever we ask Him for. When we wait for Him to open the doors, only then can we be ready to handle the magnitude of His blessings. Thank you.
Awesome, 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 awesome. Ah, Leslie Ann, that's so beautiful. That's so, so beautiful. And these are also the topics that we focus on in the Ladies in Waiting group about preparation, about the wait, about understanding God's timing and keeping in pace with Him, ensuring that you are always in step. Don't go
Yes.
before, don't
Yes.
lag behind, and understand what he's doing. You have to have that keen discernment, like the daughters of Zelophehad.
Yes.
Yeah, they understood what was happening, and so that's why they were able to argue their case. Yeah, because they deserved their
Yes.
inheritance. But as king's daughters, if we don't understand and discern what's happening around us because we're so consumed with me, myself, and
Yes.
I, then we really miss the big
Yes.
picture.
Yes.
This preparation period is really forcing us, Leslie Ann, to
Yes.
think big picture.
That's right. That's right.
How do I fit into the bigger
Yes.
picture that God has already
Yes.
painted? Yeah?
Yes. Yes.
Wow, 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 wow. Ladies in waiting, we're almost to the end of our
Yes.
segment, but we want to get some questions for Leslie Ann. And so you may start popping those questions in. Don't let her go without asking your question tonight. I will start off while they get their thoughts together. I'm going back to the purpose, you said, of writing this book was mainly to help women heal
Yes.
and to find themselves.
Yes.
So my question is on the finding yourself part.
Yes.
You mentioned you started that process of finding yourself in your
Yes.
20s, but someone is listening tonight and they're probably in their 50s, their 60s, their 40s, and they're saying, so much time has been lost. Can I still find myself? Is it too late for
Mhm.
me? What would you say to that
Yes.
person, Leslie Ann?
Yes. I would say it's never too late. God is waiting and He's ready. And there's no age. Age is not a part of God's mindset and mission for your life. All right. And when you say finding yourself, it means that you have to go back. Sometimes it means that you have to go back to where it started. I know it's hard.
Okay.
Sometimes it means that you have to go back. Something's happening in your life and you don't know yourself. You feel like you're not living a life. Sometimes you are depressed, you're stressed out, you're smoking, you're addicted to sexual intercourse, men. Sometimes it means that you have to go back to the past.
Yes.
Along the way, something went wrong.
Yes.
That's the hard part. A lot of us don't like to go back. We're afraid to allow the kind of worms to come out. But let me tell you that the opening those kinds of worms is necessary.
Okay.
I did it as well.
Yes.
And it was the worst period of my life. It brought up all different types of feeling, anger, hate, revenge, unforgiveness, but it is necessary. You have to go back with God. You have
Okay.
to surrender. And then you have to start understanding why, what happened. And sometimes a lot of persons you might realize that they were abused as a child, they were raped, their parents continue speaking negatively over their life, they went through some type of trauma, could be a divorce that happened, didn't realize a relationship that happened recently that just turned them off from other guys.
Right.
And it could be many things, and sometimes it's necessary to go back.
Yes.
Only when you start doing the work and realizing what is happening, then you can start to go forward and
Yes.
forgive
Yes.
and to let go and to
Awesome.
heal. And only when you do that, you can discover your true self.
Yes.
Your inner self becomes healed.
Okay.
And only then you can start receiving the blessings that God has for you.
Awesome.
Yes.
Wow, that's good stuff. That's good stuff. We have a question coming in from Angela. And so this has to do with your title again,
Yes.
Owning Your Crown. And so she's asking, can you give some practical steps, at least 2 steps?
Yes.
Where do I start in this owning my crown? So I'm hearing
Yes.
you, Leslie
Yes.
Ann, and tomorrow I want to start
Good.
owning my crown. But what do
Yes.
I do?
I like that. That's a very good question.
So some
And
steps.
yes, I would say steps in owning your crown. You must start with a routine.
Okay.
A routine. You must start. Whatever you do consistently becomes a part of your life.
Okay.
So you must start with a routine. So owning your crown means that you have to start waking up a little bit better in the morning, and you start writing out, okay, how can I become better? You can write down some words that you can say to yourself. You can start writing down a little bit about yourself. Hold a second. Right. I am fearfully and wonderfully made. You can get some scriptures from the Bible. You can put it on a chart and you can start speaking it out in the morning. A routine means connecting with God, building your relationship with God. And some you can choose a time during the day to build your relationship. So for me, I spend my time more in the morning, like about 4 or 5. That's my time to connect with God.
But someone
Right?
could find what
Yes.
works for
And
them.
yes, you can find any time for you because we
Right.
have different schedules, but you
Yes.
must start with God,
Yes.
right? And God will direct your path. He will tell you, okay, make this step. Owning your crown means believing in yourself. All right. So as I said, routine again. You have to start writing down your purpose, writing down what you love, writing down how this make you feel, what would I love about myself? How can I love myself more? What can I give to myself? Am I
Yes.
deserving? So you start writing these questions down because you have to build your confident level. All right. Owning your crown means setting standards for yourself. It means that you must start again. How can I give myself more love? How can I feel more worthy? And
Yes.
simple steps you can do is taking some moments to just love yourself, hug yourself, maybe go shopping. Simple things that you can do. Wash your hair longer. Simple things that you can do to start giving yourself more attention. All right? Owning your crown means that you want to start preparing your mindset, changing some of those thoughts in your mind, and it goes back to routine again. So when you change in your thoughts, you must start to understand what do you believe in. Some of the things that you are believing in could be wrong. You believe that you're not enough. You believe that you're not worthy of a good guy. You feel that God doesn't love you.
Yes.
You feel that you're ugly. So you gotta change. Create a routine again. Get up in the morning. You speak as you wake up. You pray and you start speaking to yourself. I am great. I am love. You speak to yourself. Change those thoughts. And then you have to, as you go on through the day, you have to be guarding your thoughts. Owning your crown means guarding your thoughts.
Yes.
Owning your crown means to discern, apply the spirit of discernment. Because different things are going to bombard your mind during the day. And one more
Awesome.
thing, owning your crown means to guard your space and your circle. Not everybody around you is meant to be in your life. Guard your space. So those little
Awesome.
steps would help.
Awesome. So, Angela, I hope that those steps, you wrote them down and you can start applying them from tomorrow in
Yes.
owning your crown. Leslie Ann, one of the cries you hear from single ladies is that, and the question, has God forgotten me? Does your book deal with that? And what
Yes.
would you tell someone who's listening tonight and they're
Yes.
thinking, it's another Christmas season coming and I'm
Yes.
still alone. The
Yes.
pandemic came and dashed any hope that I had of meeting Mr. Right. Has
Yes.
God forgotten me? What would you
Yes.
tell that person?
And I would say God has not forgotten you. His timing and your timing are different, and He's always on time. And the thing about God is that He's still working. He's still working in your life. He's developing you and preparing you for a relationship. because a season of relationship comes with its own burdens and situations. And if it is you are not matured spiritually, mentally, emotionally,
Yes.
you can't enter that. You will be immature. That's why you have to prepare yourself, and God is preparing you. Nothing
Yes.
happens prematurely. Yes? So God has not forgotten you. Even in my life, I had to spend
Yes.
over 3 years being single.
Yes.
And I had to stay in silence and trust God. And I learned my biggest season of faith in that season. And obedience as well, because during Christmas time, you want to go and run back with this person and run back with that person. And that is when I had to listen to God and say, I am staying by myself
Yes.
and I'm going to wait and trust that He'll bring that person. And He really did.
Yes.
Yes.
Awesome.
So you're not alone. God has not forgotten you. He's right on
Awesome.
time.
Awesome. I'm going to have dibs on the last question. I don't see any more coming, Leslie, and so I'll take the last question before we end. In owning your crown, and was this your experience?
Yes.
Did you seek external help? Did
Yes.
you go to a
Yes.
counselor? Did
Yes.
you speak to a coach to help you along the journey? Is this important in reestablishing your crown and owning your crown? Tell
Yes.
us.
That's a very good question. And I believe that is important to go with God, and God will align you to the right coach. Sometimes you may need to go to a doctor for help. For me, God told me that He would use my husband
Okay.
as my mentor.
Yes.
And I had seek counseling, but God said, I'm going to do my greatest work. I'm going to speak through your husband. At that time, I was in college, but I was broken. I had gotten married and I was still broken.
Okay.
And one of the problems that I had, I was so bottled up. And because I was ashamed of talking about it, the devil tormented me more.
Yes.
So what my husband had to do every afternoon, he would sit and listen
Okay.
every single day. And a little bit of me would share. I would tell him my darkest secrets. And because of letting out, God was healing me.
Yes.
But this wouldn't work for everybody. God used my husband. I
Yes.
believe that is important to find a counselor. And I
Yes.
believe that God will assign. When you listen to God, He will tell you what your next move, where you have to go. He will
Yes.
direct your path.
Yes.
Yes. And but God used my husband, and God really worked. And He did his thing in me.
Someone is listening to you and they are saying, Leslie Ann, you don't know my shame. It's
Yes.
big, it's heavy. What would you tell that person?
Huh. That's a very good question. I was like that as well. And I felt like, no one knows my shame. Too ashamed to say this because the world would think of me otherwise. And I would say, start writing your shame on paper. When you write things out, it's like you're writing to God. If you're ashamed of telling anybody, write it down. Dear God. And you just share. You have to let out that shame. Because if you don't write, the devil will keep attacking you, making you feel
Yes.
guilty. He will trample on that. He will bring fear to you. And I suffered from fear as well.
Yes.
Ashamed of what the world would think of me. Would they say I'm just like my mom? How would the world react to me? How would men react to me knowing that my mom is like that? Would they think like that? So if it
Yes.
is you are that person, you have this shame in you, you have to start writing it down. Dear God,
Awesome.
and you write again, and just let God move until you let all out. Yes,
Leslie, and you see me chuckling because I'm always amazed at God. You know, you shouldn't be, but yet
yes,
still, I am
yes,
always amazed. You just said something. You're encouraging persons to write that letter, and you
yes.
start it with Dear God. Those who are in Ladies in Waiting and those who attend all our events,
Okay.
they know that this is one method that God
Wow,
has given us
very
to
good.
release and to get things into
Wow.
perspective. And we
Okay.
use that method dear God, and we
Yes.
sit in silence, or sometimes music is playing in the
Yes.
background and they write. I say, don't think about proper sentence
Yes.
structure, just write.
That's right.
And you have homework because you would not finish this now. You
Yes.
continue adding to this letter.
That's right.
And God is doing his work
Yes.
wherever
Yes.
he finds his
Yes.
handmaiden saying, yes,
Yes.
God, what's the strategy? And
Yes.
so when I hear someone else using that strategy, I'm saying, there goes God.
Yes, that is
There
itself.
goes God.
Yes.
Leslie Ann, if someone wants to purchase this book,
Yes.
show them the cover
Yes.
one
Let me
more
show you the
time.
cover.
Dear King's
Oh,
Woman,
oh, no.
own your crown. Where can they
Yes.
get this
Yes.
book?
All right. So I can give my number out. They
Sure.
can they can message me. They can WhatsApp me. They can call me at 1-868-290-4441.
Okay.
They can also send me an email as well at
Yes.
coach at leslieandjerome.com.
Okay.
All right. These books go really fast.
Yes.
Yes. And
So,
so you
go
just
ahead.
message me, and there's another stock coming in this month.
Yes.
So just message and pre-order, and as soon as they reach, I will contact you and we'll deliver to you.
Awesome.
Yes.
So, folks, the contact number and the email will be put in the show
Yes.
notes so that you can always go back, get it. And
Yes.
please, access, access. I always say God
Yes.
has given us resources in the kingdom.
That's
We don't
right.
have to look too far. And so, if this resonated with you this evening, you need to get a copy of
Yes.
this book.
Yes.
Dear God's Woman, own your crown. Leslie, and it has been such a
Yes.
pleasure speaking with you this evening. Final words.
Yes. Yes.
Tell us as we close.
For anyone listening, maybe you're single, waiting on the right person. Maybe you're broken. You're in an unknown season. You're not sure of your identity. Understand that God is calling you. All right. This is a season where God is really calling you. So you have to understand that this is the time to find yourself. Surrender to God and just come to Him. Tell Him how you feel. Sometimes it may be that you have to scream, cry it out, go on your knees. But this is the time where God is saying, I don't want you to be broken anymore. I have that person for you. I have that special person for your husband is waiting, but I am not finished with you as yet. I want to heal you. I want to grow you into that person that you're supposed to be. So I'm saying, allow God to do whatever He wants to do in your life. Let go and find yourself. It is never too late to start again. If you're in an unknown season, trust God. Just be obedient. Rely on Him. Flow just like a river. And every single thing in your life will come together. Don't think about it. Remember, faith is not about seeing with our physical eyes, but just believing that it already happened. Trust in God and allow Him to do what He has called you to do. Thank you so much.
Amen. Leslie Ann, we thank you for coming and
Yes,
kicking us off
yes,
tonight,
yes,
pouring so much into us. I know the ladies, they have a lot to think about this evening and
yes,
they will start applying what they heard.
yes.
Thank you
Thank
again
you.
and God bless
Yes,
you.
thank you so much.
Amen.
Thank you so much. Amen.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Well, ladies in waiting, as I said, something is always happening. We are not letting up. It's about accelerating, it's about picking up the pace, and it's about finishing strong. So, again, our Purpose in My Pen series happening all month of November. I'm still in October. Every Tuesday evening, we started this evening. So next week, Tuesday, we'll be back here again at 7 p.m. chatting with another Kingdom author. Yes, so you want to mark your calendars, set your notifications, and let's come again and really glean from the wisdom that God has given each one of these authors. And I want to end as Leslie is saying, it is never too late to start again. God bless you, ladies in waiting. If you are looking to join a safe environment, a group with like minded women, singular in purpose, then consider joining the Ladies in Waiting group. Look us up on Facebook, Ladies in Waiting, Preparation While Waiting. We believe in strategic and holistic preparation, preparing us for all that God has placed inside of us. We will give birth to everything He has placed inside of us. So until next week, Tuesday, God bless you. Good, good, good. I love you. Bye.